I've seen that look before. The one that you have right now. That mix of hope and skepticism. The exhaustion in your eyes from telling your child's story over and over and over to different specialists. The frustration of hearing that everything looks normal when you know something isn't right. You've done the blood work. You've done the allergy test. Maybe even genetic testing or MRIs. You've tried the diets, the supplements, the therapies, the medications reluctantly. And yet here you are still searching. I'm Dr. John Caruso from Haven Family Chiropractic, and today I'm going to show you something that might be the missing piece that you've been looking for all along. Let me ask you something. Has a doctor ever measured how your child's nervous system is actually functioning? Not just checking reflexes or asking developmental questions and checking boxes, but actually measuring with objective tests how their master control system is working. Probably not. Because in the medical system, we measure anatomy, the structure, but rarely measure physiology or the function. It's like having engine trouble in your car, but the mechanic only checks if the parts are all there, not if they're working together properly. This is exactly why parents come to us saying things like, we've been to 6 specialists and they all say different things. The therapies help a little, but the problems keep coming back. My child is struggling, but I can't get anyone to believe me because the tests come back normal. Does that sound familiar? This gap between what tests show and what you're experiencing with your child isn't in your head. It's in their nervous system. You see, your child's nervous system controls everything in their body. How well they sleep, their ability to focus and learn in school, their digestion and their immune function, or how they process sensory information, their emotional regulation and their behavior, as well as hitting their developmental milestones. And when this system is under stress or not communicating properly, it creates a cascade of symptoms that might seem unrelated, but actually have a common source. So think about it. Sensory issues or digestive problems or sleep disturbances and anxiety and developmental delays. They're all controlled by the same system. And until now, you've probably been addressing each symptom separately because no one has shown you what's happening at the core. Now, this is why I'm so passionate about what I'm going to show you. At Haven Family Chiropractic, we use revolutionary technology called the Insight scans that actually measures how your child's nervous system is functioning. Now, these aren't experimental. They're FDA cleared and used by over 10,000 practitioners worldwide, and it's backed by decades of research. They're completely non-invasive. It's painless, and it takes minutes to perform. And I use them on all ages, even my newborns and pregnant moms. But what makes them truly special is that they often reveal what all those other tests have been missing. So let me show you exactly what these scans measure and why they matter so much for your child. So let's look at 3 powerful scans that make up the Insight technology. And each one gives us a different piece of the puzzle about your child's nervous system. So this is what's called the neurothermal. So this scan measures something remarkable. The actual function of your child's autonomic nervous system all along the spine. The system controls their fight or flight response and their rest and digest function. So what you're seeing here is basically a heat map of nerve function. The colors show us areas where your child's nervous system is stuck in fight or flight. The areas of white are within normal activity. So these red bars that you're seeing up into the upper neck, or the blue and green that you're seeing elsewhere throughout the spine, those are specific hotspots or areas that the nervous system is stuck on stress and things are not necessarily working correctly. Now, why this matters is that when we see these patterns, it helps us to explain why your child might be struggling with things like chronic ear infections that aren't responding to antibiotics, where digestive issues like colic or reflux or constipation, or sleep disturbances and difficulty settling, or even the immune system challenges and frequent illnesses. So what this means clinically is that these patterns tell us exactly where your child's nervous system needs the most support. And it guides our adjustments with precision rather than guesswork. And it gives us objective measurements to be able to track the improvements over time. So what we're looking at with this thermal scan, this upper neck, this C2 area of stress stuck on, most commonly is related to our sinuses. It's most commonly related to our ear drainage, and it plays a significant role with our vagus nerve, that calming brake pedal side of our nervous system. And what you're seeing down throughout the rest of the spine are more of our major digestive centers, as well as our major immune and elimination spots. So this specific scan gives us a really great depiction of a child's nervous system who's struggling with immune and gut issues, among other things. So second, we use what's called surface EMG or surface electromyography. Now this scan measures the electrical activity in the muscles along the spine. So it shows us tension patterns that reveal how the nervous system is communicating or coordinating action and function with their muscles. We commonly see two big patterns. One's what's called the raging bull. So excessive tension and activity often linked to hyperactivity or anxiety and ADHD or sensory sensitivities, or more of a drunken bull pattern where there's erratic and unbalanced musculature and the function of it or the organization that affects coordination, that affects focus, motor development, and emotional control. So when we see these levels of disorganization within the body or lack of coordination because there's areas of high tension and low tension and everything in between, it helps us explain the challenges with sensory processing and integration. With things like coordination and motor skills, or focus and attention, or emotional regulation and meltdowns, as well as the physical developmental milestone delays. And what this means for me clinically is that these scans guide our approach to your child's care, showing us whether they need calming or activating or balancing techniques. We can also measure the progress objectively throughout the course of a care plan as these patterns normalize. And lastly is heart rate variability. It's quite literally the gold standard of measuring what's going on within our autonomic nervous system. And it might oftentimes be the most revealing scan of all. It simply measures the variation in time between your child's heartbeats, which it's controlled by our vagus nerve, that brake pedal rest digest component to our nervous system. And so it's the most important nerve in stress recovery, as well as emotional regulation, socialization, as well as our gut and our immune function. So the scan tells us how effectively that your child's nervous system is adapting or handling to stress and recovering from it. It's like a window into resilience and adaptability. And why this scan matters most is that it helps explains why they may be stuck in this stress response, why their ability to transition between activities tanks, their sleep quality and the ability to calm down just isn't quite there, or the emotional regulation is 0 to 100 real quick, as well as their overall resilience to stress. So what this means clinically is that it gives us a clear picture of your child's nervous system and the reserves and the capacity to heal and make progress. So it guides the frequency and oftentimes the intensity of our care. And it often shows improvement before you even notice symptoms change. So let me tell you about Crystal, a first-time mom that came to our office struggling with things like extreme fatigue and constantly feeling on edge. It's a common wired but tired pattern that we see often with our adults. So she'd been to multiple doctors that told her everything was normal, despite her knowing that something was wrong. And when we performed these scans for the first time, she had objective proof of what she'd been feeling. The scan showed her nervous system was stuck in fight or flight mode with very little recovery capacity. So in Crystal's words, what I loved about the insight scans is that they were tailored specifically to me and looked deeper at the root cause of what was happening. And for the first time, I felt validated. So as we address the patterns shown in her scans, Crystal began to transform. And so today she describes herself as the peace in other people's storms, a complete reversal from where she had started. And while Crystal's story is powerful, we see these transformations every day with children within our practice. Now you might be wondering, if these scans are so valuable, why hasn't my pediatrician mentioned them? The answer is simple but frustrating. Most medical providers focus on diagnosing disease, not measuring function. They're trained to look for what's broken, not how to optimize health. And both approaches can be valuable, but you need both perspectives for the complete picture. The most common question that parents ask is, couldn't my child's symptoms just be normal developmental challenges? Absolutely, though. And these scans help us differentiate. They show us when a nervous system is appropriately developing versus when it's struggling. Not every child needs support, but when they do, these scans help us identify it early. Parents often mention that they've tried other natural approaches that didn't even help. And this is exactly why objective testing matters. Without measuring nervous system function, other approaches are often just educated guesses. Now, these scans give us precision and the ability to track progress, not just hope for it. Parents, let me be straightforward. If your child is struggling and conventional testing has not provided answers, the insight scans might be the missing piece that you've been searching for. They give us and you a window into what's really happening within your child's nervous system. And once we can see it, we can address it. So at Haven Family Chiropractic, we include these comprehensive insight scans as a part of our new patient experience. They take just minutes to perform and are completely non-invasive, but provide the invaluable information that guides our care approach. So think about how long you've been searching for answers, how many specialists that you've seen, how many approaches that you've tried. Isn't it worth 30 minutes to potentially discover what everyone else has been missing? Check the link within our bio or comment below to be able to schedule your child's insight scans in their consult. Your answers are waiting. Take the first step today. But one last thing before you go. That feeling that you have, the one that tells you something isn't quite right despite what other tests show. It's not paranoia. It's not overreacting. It's your parental intuition. And it's one of the most powerful diagnostic tools on the planet. We believe you. And these scans might finally give you the validation and the answers that you deserve. I'm Dr. John Caruso, and we're here when you're ready to find the missing piece.